not the host, man. I may carry this show, but I'm not the host.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Awesemo.com NBA strategy show presented by No House Advantage. I am Dave Loughran on that Twitter machine, that vile, repulsive Twitter machine at Laffy_D. Give me a follow, Laffy, LOUGHY_D. That's a ringing endorsement, right? Josh Engleman, at Josh Engleman on the Twitters.
Hey, come follow me on the thing that I am going to disparage in my intro.
Oh, it's a
amazing
dirty place, man.
It depends who you follow.
Political Twitter is a rough spot to go down. I have completely disconnected myself from all of that. I stepped away and I feel great.
I've never stepped into it, so I've always felt great, I guess.
Kept your foot out of the metaphorical shit, huh?
Yeah, and then people that used to be in that metaphorical shit are flying back into the DFS industry. I wonder who's got the financial backing there.
Oh, yes. It's a very interesting time to be alive on Twitter in the DFS world, especially when they cross paths with other areas of life. I don't know. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Doesn't matter. We're happy to have you guys with us. Josh, only 7 games, though. Not going to lie. Everyone was
so happy
about last night. I didn't think last night was that big of a disaster. I mean, I didn't 150. So just to be clear, that makes it a little bit different. I know Adam didn't either. He played 6 lineups. He had to make adjustments, but the DeRozan news sucked for sure. It wasn't that bad though, because there were legitimate spots to go to. It's a lot worse when you can't make any adjustments for when guys get ruled out after lock.
I don't even think the DeRozan news was bad. The worst news was DeJounte Murray and Patty Mills getting ruled out 10 minutes before lock. Once that lock hit, then you had 45 minutes to figure out what you wanted to do with DeRozan. That was easier to do. Now, you obviously had more DeRozan at that point in time if you were able to make your swaps, but the one right before lock, to me, was 100 times worse than DeRozan. You have no rush to get DeRozan out. As long as you're paying attention, that process was easy, and it led me to a lot of Derek White, which ended up going very, very well. My problem was hitching my wagon to ya boy, Joel Embiid, who did not have it yesterday.
I tried to warn people. I am the Joel Embiid whisperer, Josh. And I mentioned on the show, on the deeper dive, that second of a back-to-back, I think he's going to play, but it could be ugly. Now, granted, the truth is, he was, if you guys watched any of this game, he probably still finishes with an easy 50 if he plays the fourth quarter.
It wouldn't have hurt.
Giannis played the entire fourth quarter, and they were up by like 19 the whole time, which was crazy. But no, Embiid did not. He was tired. He didn't have it. His defense.
He had 3 rebounds.
Yeah, I know. His defense was still great, but dude, the Bucks shot like 70% from 3 in the first half. Yeah, you know, he can't do anything about that. So
look. Once Ben Simmons got ruled out, you pull those rates. Joel Embiid's usage rate is like 40% when Ben Simmons isn't on the floor. He like everything just goes through him. And I didn't really see an alternative. Like the other centers that were available yesterday, Drummond's, Mo Bamba eventually, like they didn't. The upside for Joel Embiid having a big game as the solo center for you was so much bigger than anybody else that was there. Unfortunately, 3 rebounds for the big man, 0 for 4 from 3, just not going to get it done. 1 block, like he did. None of the additional stats were there. 9 of 21 is like a pedestrian day from the field. He had nothing else in the tank. I paid up for him instead of Luka, and that was my biggest issue.
Yeah, no, he was wiped out for sure. But it's one of those days. What did Luka finish with?
A lot more than that.
I ended up with a lot less Luka than I anticipated.
I can show me one second. He had 58.25 DK points. That's the second highest total behind Giannis.
Yep. Okay. Makes sense. Hey, hit that thumbs up, guys. We're going to jump into this right now. I know so many of you are with us every single day, and you've already hit that thumbs up. But if you haven't, maybe you're new to the channel, do that and subscribe. We're making our way to 60,000 subscribers slowly but surely. trying to put out the best DFS content for free that you're going to find on the interweb. So hit that subscribe if you haven't done so yet. Hit the thumbs up. And of course, the notification bell if you want to know when all our shows are going to drop. We got content for any sport you could imagine. No place you need to be other than right here on the Awesemo YouTube channel. All right, Josh, let's take a look at Fantasy Cruncher lineup study. Wait till we get to the Hall of Fame segment today. The Awesemo avatars coming in hot last night.
Good day to be 150 maxer, because the 150 maxers cleaned up. The top of the big tournament on DraftKings yesterday is just a sea of pros, led by Brick 75, taking it down, 100K for Brick. So congrats to him, friend of the program at the very least. Fantastic player, just all around solid dude in the industry. But it's just a laundry list of names. Our boy Neil finished tied for second here. There was a three-way chop at second. He also took down the Fanduel shot, so kudos to him for that 50K. But the whistles go whoop. Kobe for MVP, Oxen Duck, Jay Blake the King, Awesemo, Gene B. Kim coming in 13th. You see Chipotle Addict and Cheddar Bisque up there. It's just a sea of names.
And a decent amount of Awesemo avatars as well.
Absolutely. And that's always nice to see.
Yeah. What do we have? 3 in the top 15? We had Neil, we had
2.
Alex, and we had Gene.
Yeah.
We'll take that. That.
No problem there. That's for sure.
No, not at all. So the winning lineup was Chris Paul, Derek White. Derek White was the easiest swap of the night if you could make it. And quite frankly, as you mentioned, I was actually happy about the DeJounte Murray news because it meant I didn't have to play a single Denzel Valentine lineup. I just went straight to Lonnie Walker and all of them at $100 more. So
yeah,
I'm sorry, not a couple $100 more. What's that?
I got to a ton of those guys. I was shocked actually at what Derek White's ownership actually ended up being on FanDuel. It's a testament to how important it is to late swap, because I assumed he was going to get into like the 40s if he could have. And I believe when I looked at it, he was like 27. Let me check it just because I don't want to speak untruths into the world. But
oh yeah, I wouldn't want to do that.
I ended up with like 50 or 60, even on a late swap. I still had so much space to get to him. He ended up being 27% owned on FanDuel, which is where I thought he probably could have been before all the news even happened. He became like one of the 3 best plays on the slate. Like you just unload your full clip into him.
Yep, you have to. It's pretty simple. That seems like a pretty dark way to put it. You unload your full clip into him. Yeah,
it's a metaphor.
Huh.
All metaphors don't sound correct
someone.
For whatever you're. No. A full clip of lineups.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean. By the way, it's a magazine, not a clip.
I don't know anything about guns, man. I just own them and they sit in the closet.
Mo Bamba, by the way, that was the easiest play that you're going to get. And he only played like 26 minutes because they got smoked by the New Orleans Pelicans. The one spot that I look back on and hurt me more than I still had a good night, but Cole Anthony, I really liked Cole Anthony against the Pels. Bad team, play at an up-tempo pace. They were down by 45 in the beginning of the third quarter, and Anthony only played 25 minutes, so that sucked.
Yeah, I had a bunch of Dwayne Bacon on FanDuel as well, just because he was a value play. I was actually pretty nervous about Mo Bamba. Now, on DraftKings, to me, it was different because you could roster more than one center. But I was nervous about his minutes. Like, he played 28 yesterday. That's his career high. So I wasn't really excited about that prospect. They have enough other like power forwardy center type bodies that I actually recommended going to Robert Franks as like sort of a GPP pivot. That could have just as easily been Dante Hall, who was in the winning lineup for Neil on FanDuel. I only gave Bamba 24 minutes because I just didn't think that he was the type of guy that was going to be out on the floor a lot. I knew he was my number one contender on DraftKings. To me, it was a no-brainer there. On FanDuel, I was a little bit more apprehensive. Still had a bunch, but I just didn't try. Like, you pick up a couple fouls, they can go to anybody. They stink. So like, he didn't have to be out there for a ton. 28 minutes, like I said, the most minutes that Mo Bamba has played. This is his 3rd year in the NBA, isn't it?
Yeah, it's around that. Sure. I just looked at the boom bust tool and he had like a 70% boom probability. And I said, all right, that's enough for me.
He was my number one contender and Alex had him like 6 points ahead of me.
Yeah, right. It's because he's a good per minute guy. He's getting minutes at center. You gotta,
yeah. No brainer to me on DraftKings. Number one with a bullet.
Got to go with the flow. Okay, let's dive into it. What do you say? Only 7 games today. Feels kind of nice, right?
It's so nice, dude.
It's on a Friday.
I knew it, but I forgot that you and I had talked about how like we tailed off for the week. And I woke up this morning. Obviously, I talked about it on the process show. I messaged you guys yesterday. First day with the trainer was a long day yesterday, and I woke up immediately like, I swear to God, if there's 11 games, I'm jumping off my balcony. And I was like, oh, it's 7. It's 7. I was just so happy. Got that
immediate natural dopamine hit.
Oh, the happiness that I felt when I knew that I didn't have to break down 22 teams at 6:30 in the morning was just super high.
And I knew there were only 7 games, but there was something about me when I woke up this morning. I mean, I checked my phone before I got out of bed just in case something had changed since I last looked earlier this week.
It just felt weird. Like, you're not supposed to have that many games on a Friday. I figured we were getting the full bore, the full clip, some might say.
The full clips. I love 7 games. So not just on Fridays. Like I thoroughly enjoy them. I think you can just, I don't know. I feel more comfortable with 7-game slates. So let's dive into it. Miami, and not just breaking them down, but playing them. And I guess everybody's different, of course.
I love that 6 to 8 range.
6 to 8 is the wheelhouse range. Yep, absolutely. Miami, Atlanta. And by the way, for someone like you saying that who automates everything says a lot too, though, because,
it just like on a 10, 11 game slate, like you can take like 2 or 3 stands. You feel like you're missing out on 15, 20 guys. I hate casting the wide net. And on like a short slate, you just feel like you're chopping with everybody. You feel like everybody's got the exact same thing. You feel like you can't really find the right leverage. Here, you can put yourself behind a bunch of guys, but it still allows you to have shares of all of the relevant guys. But there's basically no real chopping going on a 7-game slate. It's just the perfect combination of all of them.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Let's touch on all 7 of these. Miami and Atlanta, the Miami Heat, 5.5-point favorites, 214 total. Tyler Hero's questionable. Everyone else seems to be like they're in good enough shape here. No issues. It's a little bit different once we get to the Atlanta side. That's where things will get a lot more interesting. But to start it off with guys like Butler and Bam Adebayo at the top, I'm actually a little bit surprised that Butler is still priced where he is on DraftKings, Josh. I personally feel like you're getting this pretty same numbers as somebody like Trae Young has been providing over the last month. He's been good, but I don't know if he's flirt with $10,000 good right now. Against Atlanta, though, does that make it worthwhile? Do you say, all right, I'm willing to pay a premium for Jimmy Butler in a spot against Atlanta?
No. On FanDuel, yes. On FanDuel, yes, because you're forced into playing 2 at each position. On DraftKings, I have Kendrick Nunn at 5,100 as the best play coming out, or the most likely optimal play coming out of the Heat at 4%. Like, to me, the Miami Heat in this game are unplayable on DraftKings. And on FanDuel, I think Butler looks pretty good. I have him at 1.26 fantasy points per minute. Over the last 30 days, he's been at about 1.31. So I'm being pessimistic over where he's been. And I still think that he grades out pretty well, just given the makeup of the position. It's a pretty gross spot today. There's nothing really to pay for. Like, Durant is the second most expensive small forward on FanDuel. Clearly, you're probably not going to Kevin Durant, even if he plays. Butler is at the top of that heap. Then everybody else is in the 6s and 7s. Small forward is as hard as it's been all year. So the raw points from Jimmy Butler matter a lot at small forward on FanDuel. He shows up in the optimal about 19% of the time for me. And I don't even think that he's like a fantastic play. He's just the best of what's available. Trevor Ariza works as a value if you need it, but I see Miami by and large as unplayable today.
All right. That makes it easier on me. On the Atlanta side of the ball, though, no Trae Young, DeAndre Hunter. I keep mentioning that he's out, but that's just a formality at this point, Josh.
Yeah.
He's out as well. Danilo Gallinari's questionable, and Clint Capella's questionable as well. Now, I assume he's going to play, okay? Maybe I'm wrong, but I assume we're going to have Clint Capella, at least for now. That's why we have the deeper dive. That's why we have live before lock, all of that good stuff. Even the tip-off show leads you up. When we get that news, you'll know about it and what exactly to do with the news when it breaks. But the Trae Young news is big. He's out at least 2 games, and that is going to open the door for more minutes to both Goodwin and to Lou Williams in the 2 games that Trae Young missed recently. Brandon Goodwin played 37 and 37 minutes.
Yeah.
Lou Williams played 25, but then 29 in another one of those. And we know that he's the type of player that when he gets hot, he can go off. It's not a great matchup, understandably so. But at the same time, they didn't price these guys up to reflect Trae Young's absence. I'm assuming salaries were already out, or maybe they weren't. But still, that makes a huge difference today.
So FanDuel has them priced up. Brandon Goodwin's 5K. So I have him in for 30 minutes. He can play more. He looks like an okay play. He's 3,400 on DraftKings. Very different story. Brandon Goodwin is one of the best plays on the slate today on DraftKings. He will be all day, no matter what. Even if he's not the starter today, which I assume that he will be, he's still a really good play just because he's 3,400. The problem here is Atlanta is terrible without Trae Young. When Trae Young is off the floor, 107.5 offensive rating. That's a 22nd percentile outcome. This is a truly terrible offense. So I am very apprehensive about this spot. It's a huge pace down matchup against Miami. Miami's defense is solid. I don't really like these guys nearly as much as I thought I would. Like on the FanDuel side, everybody's sort of priced where they should be. Kevin Huerter's in the mid fives. John Collins is 7,200. Bogdanovich is 7,500 already. Clint Capella's 9,300. Those guys are all like 10 percenters to me, maybe 15% on Bogdanovich. Brandon Goodwin on DK, optimal lineup, 30%. He's on a completely different planet. And then the rest of those guys are all just sort of bunched together again. Lou Will, I don't really feel comfortable with him. He's 5,200 on FanDuel, so I could pretty much ignore him. But he's 4,300 on DraftKings. You can't ignore Lou Will at 4,300. So he's a 10%er. Collins is a 10%er. Kevin Huerter is a 10%er. I hate recommending all these guys, but I can't separate them. I just think that they're all going to play 26 to 34 minutes today.
I don't feel comfortable with Lou Will, but if ownership comes out, Josh, and he's like 5%,
yeah,
I actually think it's possible that Lou Williams is very low owned, especially given Goodwin's price and how everyone's just going to flock to him. If that's the case, I think Lou Williams could, I don't even want to say make for a pivot off of Goodwin because that price is absurd, but I think he could make for a very good low owned tournament play.
Yeah. So I have him at 10% on DraftKings. That's just slightly behind John Collins and then obviously miles behind Goodwin, but you could play those two guys together, 7,700 for the two of them. They could both play 30 minutes today if things break the right way. Miami's pretty regularly running like undersized 1s and 2s. So that matchup isn't going to be as big of a problem, but I'm with you. Like on DraftKings for 4,300, he is a perfect GPP play.
Who would you say your top options? Obviously Goodwin, right? And I know you said you're kind of just getting random exposure across the board to a lot of these guys, scatter shot, to use one of your totally inappropriate gun analogies. Who else would you say is decent today?
I would say Goodwin on DraftKings separates from the pack. Are we talking this game or just Atlanta?
Just Atlanta, yeah.
Okay. So Goodwin on DraftKings is on a tier of his own. John Collins, Lou Will, and Bogdanovich on FanDuel would be the next group. And they are all basically the same to me.
All right. Arketelza. I think that's David Burton, right? Because he had a huge day yesterday. He's been crushing lately. He tweeted us. I just wished he had the Awesemo avatar so we could show it off. But he tweeted us, had another big day. And I'm pretty sure he said, expect a super chat from Arketelza. So he says, took down the night slate on DK. Gene pointed me in the right direction and I signed the contract. And then he sent another one that said, wouldn't let me send $50 super chat for some reason. Well, we appreciate you, man. Thanks for tuning in. I know you're in here all the time hanging out with us. So I love seeing when you get those wins. Congrats.
Hell yeah. I had a lot of people shouting us out on the process this morning, picking up wins last night. And it looked like our Twitter was loaded with them. I woke up to so many notifications. Yeah,
we were booming on Twitter. I woke up this morning and just kept scrolling.
Same.
To the top. Boston and Brooklyn. You and I talked before the show. First of all, the Boston Celtics are 5-point dogs, 230 total. We'll get to KD in a moment. But the assumption here is that Robert Williams is still out. We know that Evan Fournier is not going to play. Jaylen Brown, who was doubtful and then ultimately ruled out yesterday, has a second of a back-to-back today to maybe get back on track. But I wouldn't be surprised if he is also sidelined here. Now, the Celtics have won 9 of their last 11. They're playing much better basketball lately. And sure, they had a Suns team on the second of a back-to-back after a really tough game the night before. They're playing well, though. So I think this game still stays competitive no matter what. But who do you have in and out today for the Celtics?
So I have Robert Williams out, Evan Fournier out, and I also have Jaylen Brown out. Because he was listed as doubtful yesterday and then pretty quickly ruled out. I think that if he were more likely to play today, he would have been listed as questionable yesterday. So I'm going to assume that on the back-to-back, Brown will not be back, which means it is Jason Tatum season. 9,500 on FanDuel, 10K
God, he was
on
awful
Draftkings
yesterday, man.
Do you see? Go look at his shooting numbers for the past 2 games.
Oh, believe me, she's like 6 for 34 with the same shooting line in back-to-back games.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Now, I was looking at that. That was not lost on me because his peripherals were great yesterday.
Yes.
You just needed him not to be terrible from the field. 3 for 17, 1 for 8 from 3.
Now, he has had those shooting numbers since he was placed on the injury report with an ankle impingement. So he could be a little bit banged up, but the opportunity is there, and I cannot bet against opportunity. I think he looks like one of the best plays of the day when Jaylen Brown and we haven't even said that I don't expect Kemba Walker to play on a back-to-back for rest. He hasn't been playing back-to-backs. We buried the lead in all of this. This is why I think Jason Tatum is so interesting. I don't expect Kemba Walker to be on the floor today.
And Kemba had a minor illness that he was battling going into this game as well.
Even better for me, I guess. So fire up your Jason Tatum. Showed up in the optimal on FanDuel 31% of the time, 21% on DraftKings. I love him on both sites. I love him as a pay-up option. That is just where I want to be today because 1, Brooklyn's defense is terrible. 2, really nice pace spot for the Celtics. And look, I just can't bet on Jason Tatum shooting 25% from the field when he comes into this game. That's just not how I'm going to operate for it. So Tatum looks like a great pay-up option, but we are not even close to done with Boston Celtics today.
Before we dive a little bit further into that, Josh Castro with the super chat says, "Hey guys, had my best night yet. $1,500 profit. Few top 5s, top 10s, a few more from Schroeder would have really got me there. The process has helped me a ton, Josh, and Cruncher has been awesome." You're damn right. Process show Monday through Friday. I got you. 6:30 Eastern time in the morning. Don't miss it. All right, let's dive into Boston a little bit more then, because this is if we're operating under the assumption that they are, first of all, they're only 5-point dogs. That's a little strange to me. Little strange. That Brown and Walker and Williams are all out. That leaves Tatum, as you mentioned, 31% optimal lineup probability right now.
Yeah.
I think Marcus Smart also becomes a spectacular option here because, Josh, is he the greatest player out there? No, but he can contribute across the board. He can give you the stocks. He can score enough when asked to. He can give you enough assists, rebounds. He's a .93 fantasy point producer on his own. Take those guys off the floor. There's no doubt he's going to be the second in line here behind Jason Tatum.
So I do like Marcus Smart quite a bit. I think he's like in the 20 or right around 20% optimal lineup on both sites, 6,900 on both, but he's not my second favorite Celtic.
So I'm assuming your second favorite Celtic. All right, hold on here. Is it Pritchard?
0 for 1, but looks pretty good on DK, 3,700, 14% optimal lineup spot. That looks good. I mean, no complaints.
Don't come at me with like a Jabari Parker here or something.
It is not Jabari Parker, although he's a very interesting GPP play.
So then it has to be Tristan Thompson.
Yeah, 4,800 on FanDuel, 4,900 on DraftKings, playing north of 30 minutes. Which this is the key piece for it all. Played 34 minutes yesterday, played 33 and a half minutes on the 19th. Now that all of these guys have been out, 28 in that game before that. So they're ramping him up a little bit. We don't have Robert Williams back. This is a good spot against Brooklyn. They don't have any centers that are like a problem for Tristan Thompson. DeAndre Jordan certainly not that guy. I think that he could have a really nice night on the glass. And at those 2 price tags as a pay down center, 23% of the time in the optimal on FanDuel, 27% of the time in the optimal on DraftKings. I actually have Tristan Thompson ahead of Jason Tatum in his frequency of being in the optimal on DK today.
Very interesting. I was actually surprised by that. I must say, pretty surprised by that. Am I shocked? No, I'm not. But in the same breath, there's just going to be so much to get to here for Boston. Oh, yeah. Do I have some concerns that they get smoked if KD plays? A little bit, but I don't think you can read too far into that at all. And I still wouldn't be surprised if KD misses another game. So if we're summing up Boston, you have Jason Tatum, who in 513 minutes without Jaylen Brown and Kemba this year is almost a 1.4 fantasy point per minute guy, 35.8% usage rate, which is an elite number, 24% assist rate, and he's rebounding at a near 12% clip. Those are all very good numbers. I'm happy with that. Marcus Smart's just shy of one fantasy point per minute guy. But the thing I like about him, Josh, is if this game does stay close, I don't care if it's a second and back-to-back. Marcus Smart's giving you 37 minutes. So
absolutely.
That the minutes are huge here. If you were to get 40 from Marcus Smart, you're perfectly happy at a sub 7K price point. Who else, if anybody, can we get to for Boston?
You mentioned Peyton Pritchard. He looks a lot better on DK at 3,700 than he does at 4,200 on FanDuel. And then we also have to talk about Romeo Langford.
How many minutes are you giving Pritchard?
25.
Okay. Yeah, I had 24.
Romeo Langford, 4K on FanDuel. Not the best price tag in the world, but he's the flat min on DraftKings today. He played 32 minutes yesterday, coming off of 21 on the 19th. I assume that he starts and plays again. They did it yesterday. No reason to suspect otherwise. So I gave him 32 minutes again for today at the flat minimum on DK. He's the third best play on the Celtics to me. I'd rather have him than Marcus Smart, given their salaries right now.
Yep. Uptown G says Celtics are on a roll. We ain't getting blown out. Listen, dude, I acknowledged it. They're 9-2 over the last 11. I get it. If KD and Irving play and you're without Brown and Kemba, maybe you won't, but that's okay. There's no need to get upset. Like I immediately said, I don't take blowouts into consideration anyway. So settle down, fella.
By the way, Romeo Langford stinks. So be ready. He's going to need every one of those minutes to be any good.
Right. And also a comment that said, well, Robert Williams is technically questionable tonight. Yes, but Danny Ainge just yesterday said that he is, what did he say? Not too far away, Josh. And
if it helps, he's not technically questionable at all. No one has an injury designation for this team on a back-to-back.
They're questionable because they don't have a designation, like you said.
Yeah, right. There is no injury report for the Boston Celtics until 1:30 today.
If he plays, I'd be surprised. It's possible, but not too far away. Generally doesn't mean 18 hours from now, but crazier things have happened, right?
Yeah, all bets are off in the NBA.
What are your thoughts on Brooklyn here in the event that KD does or doesn't play? I think that's the easiest way for us to break this one down tonight.
I put him in. I don't think he matters all that much. 8,900 on FanDuel, 9K on DraftKings. It'll be good, but I just don't think he has the right tail for it. So Kyrie is 9,700 on FanDuel, shows up in the optimal about 20% of the time. He's 10-1 on DraftKings. A little bit of a tough sell there. I would much rather go to Jason Tatum on DK than I would to Kyrie Irving by quite a bit, actually. I think Landry Shamet for 4,700 is fine. I think Joe Harris for 5,300 on FanDuel looks pretty solid, again, because that small forward position is just a wasteland. I don't see anybody really standing out except for one guy who I can't wait to get to. I don't really like Boston, or I don't really like Brooklyn all that much. If Kevin Durant ends up out, like Jeff Green will look a bit better. Blake probably looks a little bit better, but these guys are starting to get their price tags where they need to be. So it's really just Kyrie Irving and Joe Harris on FanDuel for me.
All right. Cleveland and Charlotte, same matchup as we just saw, except if I recall correctly, we've swapped. No, that was Cleveland, Chicago. My fault.
Yeah,
Cleveland,
I did the same thing today.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. Cleveland and Charlotte. My apologies. Cleveland +1, 210.5 total. Very low total on this slate. Pretty much every game Cleveland or Charlotte plays. Charlotte's playing at a crawling pace, Josh. Over the last month, they're averaging like 95.5 possessions per 48. They're playing remarkably slow, and their defense actually hasn't played that bad despite all of the injuries. So it's a pretty shitty matchup for Cleveland.
So the highest optimal percentage I have on either FanDuel or DK for Cleveland is 5.7% Kevin Love. This total is miles below everything else. Heat Hawks is pretty low too, and then everything else is like 20 points ahead of it. It's craziness. I can't, in good conscience, recommend anybody from Cleveland today.
That makes my job a lot easier, and I agree with you. There's just nobody here that stands out. On Charlotte, you're getting this team closer to full strength. They've run the gauntlet of injuries this year. Malik Monk could come back today. LaMelo Ball will be back soon, but not yet. So we'll just operate under the assumption that those guys sit unless you have any different opinion.
Assuming they're all, I'm assuming whatever we had yesterday is the same for Charlotte today.
So do you like anything from Charlotte?
I like it a little bit more than I like Cleveland, but even still, like Terry Rozier looks okay. 8,100 on FanDuel, 8,700 on DraftKings. It's just a lot for a guy that's supposed to score in a game where there's not a lot of scoring. So like Rozier, Graham, McDaniels, Bridges, they're all like 10 percenters on FanDuel. They're less than that on DK. We saw Vernon Carey get 15 minutes, so he was actually able to stay functionally out on the floor last night. PJ Washington played like 13 minutes. He was minus 13 in those minutes. I can't really trust him at 6,500 and 6,300. So I will rotate through the Rozier, Graham, McDaniels, and Bridges group of 4 on FanDuel a little bit, but this is the worst DFS game on the slate.
What happened to PJ Washington? I mean, his minutes were almost cut by 2/3 yesterday after playing 35 minutes off the bench since returning from that week-long hiatus. He played 13 minutes yesterday.
I don't get it. I went and looked at it. It's not foul trouble. Like he
only had one foul all game.
Yeah, I don't really know how to read into that. And every center would like, it's not like Biyombo played well. He was like -8 and whatever minutes he played. Like it was just bad across the board. I thought they would want PJ Washington in there to try to be better offensively, to try to score, to get back into it. Nope. I don't get it. Those minutes don't make any sense to me.
I don't understand it either. I do understand, however, that if you ever wanted to listen to this show off of the YouTube platform, Josh, did you know you can listen to any podcast platform? You can find Awesemo, whether it's Apple Podcasts, whether it's Spotify, Stitcher, all of that stuff. You've got Awesemo right there, walking around with you in your pocket. Pretty simple process if you don't want to have your iPhone or your Android with the YouTube on because you don't have premium, killing your battery in your pocket. You know what I mean?
I know. It's just, you can listen to the audio version. That's good. I like looking at me, obviously, and you guys should too. But if it has to just be audio, well, at least you get Laffy's voice.
Yeah, there's that.
Yeah, because I like my voice is terrible.
No, I think we both sound and look palatable. Let's be honest. Peruse the rest of the DFS space with cameras on, and you'll be coming back to Awesemo right quick.
I know. I need to start wearing my robe.
Let's do Awesemo. Let's
can't
do
team me up
Awesemo
like
Hall.
that, man. I gotta give one pause here. Randall Robinson. Adam said something yesterday about them trying to get Carey more minutes. Now, you heard Adam say that. In that same sentence, twice in that sentence that he was giving you was, I talked to Josh earlier today and he told me this. Why are we giving Adam credit for any of this nonsense?
So wait, back up. What did he say?
He said that Adam was talking about the Hornets trying to get Carey more minutes. And that's true. Adam was. But he prefaced that statement by letting everyone know that I gave him that information.
Yeah.
I want my credit.
Yeah. And the truth comes in hot saying, Laffy, you're no Spags when it comes to transitions. I created the fucking transition, man. Come on. What are you talking about?
Speaking of transitions, we might have a new governor in California.
There it is. Let's do Hall of Fame, boys and girls. We got a big one from yesterday, and I'm stoked to show it. Jordan, oh, my man, look at him. He's got it up on the screen. I swear this dude gets better every day at his job. You notice that? He just keeps putting in the work. We do the Hall of Fame segment every day because it's fun and because we like to show off your wins and because you can win free stuff like a full month of Awesemo Plus Platinum, everything included. All you have to do is download the Awesemo profile picture for your avatar at awesemo.com/avatar. Then tweet your wins at Awesemo Hall of Fame. Include Josh in it, include me in it as well. It makes it a little bit easier. Plus, we're gonna give you your props as well. Or as who was it? Big Ups. What was his name? Ali G. Thank you. Right? No.
What are you talking about?
Did you never watch Ali G?
No, I hate it.
What?
Yeah, I don't like anything he does.
You like Borat though, right?
No.
Oh my God. Really?
Yeah, I don't like that at all.
Booyakasha. Win a free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. I already said everything on the site, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, golf, UFC, NASCAR, League of Legends. Everything is included in that month if you finish top 3 in a contest with 5,000 entries or more. And Josh, the reason I always want to talk about this is because so many people think they have to bank the $20 entry. You don't. Like, how many people recently have we seen win like $60, $70 in a field of 250,000 because it was a nickel entry and they won a free month of Awesemo Plus?
Right. Like, just because you're Just because the tournament doesn't pay out as much at the top end doesn't mean you're not making really good lineups. Like your bankroll
arguably more impressive, right?
Yeah, like your bankroll doesn't preclude you from being really good. It just means that you'll be playing in those contests further down the line instead of right now. You got to start somewhere.
Gene Kim started with a bankroll, and I don't know where he started, but I know this. Like, I don't know what dollar amount, but I know that Gene Kim started playing on Yahoo, and it was not necessarily high stakes contests. And now you look at him, and he's just raking it in every night. Jordan, do me a favor. Are we on the first one? Go back to the first one for me. Best ROI. Oh, there you go. Let's go. We'll go to Neil. So this one makes me happy. Neil Orfield is a guy that I mentioned won the Millie during the NFL season just last year. He had an awesome story. He went on with Alex and did a little like 20-minute show with us to talk about how he was driving around in an old beat up CRV. My guess is he's not driving that anymore. Because have to give a lot of credit to the projections at Awesemo.com for this one. I didn't have a ton of Bazemore, but I was more than 3x the field without touching his projection, and he made it into the one that mattered. 100K to first place. Neil Orfield, love it. Now, this is 2 days ago, but you tell me that he took first on Fanduel yesterday for 50K, and I saw him take 13K on Draftkings as well.
Yeah, so he was second in the Draftkings tournament that we looked at earlier, and he banked Fanduel yesterday for 50K.
I love it.
Yeah, he's cleaning, heater of all heaters this week, cleaning up.
Bluegrass Judas wins himself a free month. See what I mean? Look, third place, lower stakes, boom, 150. Congrats. That's it's just a win-win. And then best ROI of the season, thanks to the Awesemo crew. We got you, brother. That was a lot of fun. He tied Rinpack, but Rinpack's still ahead of me. You know what made me crazy? Rinpack on Yahoo doesn't have an Awesemo avatar.
No, he's got his own special backwards RP logo for himself. Crazy. Come on,
egregious. Man. Truly egregious. Well, congrats, Ben P. And to all of you guys.
Hell yeah.
What we got? Oh, it looks like we got one more. Oh, we got Adam Scher. That is, what a true, this is absolutely Adam Scher. Yo, Awesemo Hall of Fame. Can I have a hoodie or hat or something now? He banked the splash. Yeah, okay. Turn 2 G's into 16,000. That's your boy from the deeper dive. Congrats, asshole. Download the Awesemo profile pic at awesemo.com/avatar. Use that. If you win top 3 out of 5,000, we got you covered. We'll give you a free one. Just tweet your wins at Awesemo Hall of Fame. Free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. And if you just want to check out our tools and everything else we have, go to awesemo.com/join. Whether you want a weekly for less than $4, a monthly for I think it's, like I said, $99.95 value, but it gives you everything on the site. You can get the Fantasy Cruncher add-on, which someone just mentioned to Josh is huge. We want to make a real investment, and you can go all out with the year. It doesn't matter what you want, single sport, all sports. And Josh, I'll close with this before we cover these last few games. UFC 261, 2 pay-per-views, and everything in between. You got 2 days to hit that to get half off a full month of all of our UFC content.
Get in there for it. It's going to be an awesome card. They're back in front of fans tomorrow, 15,000 in Jacksonville, where the entire state is completely lawless. They're probably going to be starting fires in the stands. It's going to be incredible.
Clippers, Houston. I can't wait for that. I really can't. Paul George.
I like it without fans, but it's also awesome with fans.
Yeah.
I like it both ways.
The novelty was cool without fans, but I really want to see fans back in there just roaring with a big knockout or something.
Right. Like,
I love it.
Conor McGregor needs to fight in front of 40,000 people. The energy is through, like, it's incredible. But seeing that Justin Gaethje, Tony Ferguson fight at the beginning of quarantine, where you heard every single shot landing, and it just sounded like raw meat falling off the counter and landing on the linoleum. Oh, it gives me chills just thinking about hearing these people get cracked in the face.
It is awesome. But when I went back during quarantine, because all of this, you hear the bone cracking and all of that. But then I watched a replay of the Chuck Liddell, Tito Ortiz fight. And my God, it registered on the Richter scale, Josh. And that just brought chills to me. So I can't wait to see that. They're going to be insane for this one. It's going to be spectacular. I can't wait. 50% off. It's less than $15 for the entire month. Everything we got for UFC. What are you doing with the Clippers today? Laying 10 points on the road against Houston. Of course, Kawhi Leonard won't be returning for at least another few days.
Playing a bunch of Paul George once again, or as long as he makes it to the floor. 9,400 on FanDuel, 9,300 on DraftKings. A matchup against Houston, which is clearly fantastic. Shows up in the optimal, like in the mid-20s for me. He's a top 10 play on both sites. Gets the big usage bump, gets an assist bump with no Kawhi and no Beverly and no Ibaka out there. After that, it's sort of just the guys that play minutes. You can get your shares as Zubac or Marcus Morris or Reggie Jackson. But to me, there aren't any other real priorities coming from the Clippers outside of Paul George.
It's kind of weird that YouTube won't let anyone super chat us. And I know that these guys are legit because it's Ark Athelza and Anthony Davis who always comes, but we appreciate you even trying, man.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no way that Anthony Davis at this point is failing to send super chats. He's sent so many at this point
right.
that he's not going to not figure it out today.
Do you like the Houston Rockets at all?
I wish we didn't even have to talk. I'm so tired of this team. And unfortunately, they have got one of the better plays of the day today. Armani Brooks is 4,200 on FanDuel. I think he's the best play from Houston on FanDuel, but like a 20 to 25%. Really good, top 10-ish. But on DraftKings, he got the start in their last game. I got him in for 32 minutes today. He's 3,600. You just have to play a lot of him. He is the guy that unlocks the Nikola Jokic's, which we'll get to at some point in time, the Jason Tatums, which we'll already hit on. Well, Washington is going to be coming up. This helps to unlock Russell Westbrook. Armani Brooks, if he's starting, is a 0.8 fantasy point per minute guy playing 30-plus minutes at a very minimal salary. There's just no real way to get around that. I've tried to walk myself back a little bit on John Wall, but to me, he's still close to like a 15 to 20% guy. The minutes have been down a little bit, and that's helping. So I've got him in for 32 right now. Kelly Olynyk is 5,200 on FanDuel. That's a really nice price to me. He's 6,800 on DraftKings. That's not a nice price to me. So summing it up, Armani Brooks on both sites, in particular DraftKings, where he's one of the 5 best plays of the day. John Wall is a very functional core piece of your lineups, but not like the tippy top of the spear. And then Kelly Olynyk on FanDuel at 5,200 because he's wildly underpriced.
All right, that makes sense to me. That made quick work of that game. So we'll talk Washington and OKC. Russell Westbrook, what can you say about him that hasn't already been said? He's coming off yet another triple-double where this is why you have to love this man for DFS. Josh, He has scored 15, 13, and 14 points over his last 3 games. He has 57, 59, and 61 DraftKings points over the 3. He has 20 rebounds in his last game. And Adam mentioned to me during the deeper dive 2 days ago that over the last month, Russell Westbrook is 3rd in rebounds per game in the league. Unbelievable stuff that he's been doing. He's been accomplishing so much from a DFS standpoint. I have such a tough time not going back to him against his former team. I use that as a way to transition to Josh, not because I care, but I just, he's in such a good spot today. What are you doing with Westbrook?
It's incredible. Like they've won 6 straight and 8 of 9, which is craziness. Now, they haven't exactly been playing an illustrious group here. Golden State, Oklahoma City, the Pelicans, Sacramento, but they did beat Utah in Utah. Orlando is one of those wins. Russ in his last 3 games. Are you ready for this?
Let's hear it.
14 points, 13 points, and 15 points.
I know. I just said that.
Yeah, but like, that's crazy.
I know, but that's the thing though. 13, 14, and 15. Yet he still has a floor north of 55 DraftKings points.
Should we be looking into that at all?
No, he's just shooting poorly. He's still shooting.
Well, to be fair,
I'm willing to listen to that hypothesis.
He's permanently shooting poorly. That's Russell Westbrook. No, I just like to me, that's the decision point. He's 11K today. Do we think that something's wrong with him, or do we think that he's just Russell Westbrook?
All right, so let me tell you how I see this. Maybe let's hash this one out. While we're at it, I'm pulling up his drives per game over the last 3. It's something I've talked about a lot this season with Russell Westbrook. When he's not driving to the rack a lot, you're going to see those numbers take a hit because he's not a good shooter. He's good at getting to the basket. 17.7 drives per game over this recent stretch of bad shooting performances, 18 on the season. This is the way I see it. Is he a good shooter? No, he's not. But is he so good everywhere else that if Russell Westbrook gives you 25 real points, you're getting 70 out of him? Yes. Yeah. So if Westbrook goes out again today and only gives me 15 real points, I can still comfortably say that I can get more than 60 fantasy points against the Thunder. That's just something I don't mind hanging my hat on.
And I think the interesting piece for this, and I was just bringing it up as talking points.
Sure.
The interesting piece here is that he should have very little issue getting to the rim against the Oklahoma City Thunder. There's not someone meeting him at the rim that is truly terrifying. It's not Moses Brown. It's not Isaiah Roby. It's not Tony Bradley. So this spot fits him quite well. You just need to hope that some of these shots go in. He's one of the most inefficient players in the league. And that's like maddening when you have someone that's getting, 20 boards and 10 assists or 17 assists and 11 rebounds. Like you kind of need him to score to get to where you need him, like you want him to be. Like if I told you that Russell Westbrook had 30 real points today, he's probably the best play on the slate. I don't have to tell you anything else, just his actual points.
I would put him in every single lineup. I'm not kidding. If you told me that he was locked in the 30 points, what's the worst that can happen? He gives me 10 rebounds and 9 assists to go along with it.
Yeah. Like what you're really hoping for, and this is particularly on FanDuel, that he doesn't cough it up 9 times and 8 times like he has in the past too. But he's not even
care on DraftKings.
He's playing crazy. He's playing Tibbs minutes. 41 minutes the last time out. 39 the game before that. He played 44 against the Pelicans. Like, just play Russell Westbrook. To me, he looks fantastic on both sites at 11K. I will be going to him. I have no qualms with it. He's a preferred pay-up option for me. But there's a lot more to like here for Washington. Raul Neto is starting right now, playing a ton of minutes. He's 3,600 on FanDuel and 3,400 on DraftKings.
Highest projected owned player on FanDuel right now at 40%.
I assume we got ownership?
A couple minutes ago, yep.
Let me grab that so I can make some comparisons. No, like he's a high-end value option. Oh, it's nice to see the DraftKings play at the top. That makes me feel a lot better. And Jimmy Butler, too. That looking good so far. Yeah, look, Russ looks great. Neto is a perfect value play. Beal's price is coming up on FanDuel. He's at 9K now. Still fully warranted. I like getting to Bradley Beal. We know that we're not going to have Rui Hachimura here. Denny Avdia, who I thought broke his foot clean off his body, has a hairline fracture, which doesn't make a lick of sense to me.
Adam was really, really disappointed by that.
As disappointed as he can be, I don't think that he wants anybody from the Wizards to get hurt, but he does live for broken bones.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's more like if it's going to break, he wants a clean break.
Well, I thought it was a clean break. They came in and laid a towel over top of it.
Yeah, I know.
It's a hairline fracture. I don't understand how those two things can be the same thing.
A little over the top, don't you think?
Finding out then? Yeah, absolutely. Either way, play Beal, play Westbrook, play Raul Neto, play Davis Bertans. You look pretty good at 4,300 on DK.
I do look pretty good.
No, just as a DFS player, not going. Physically.
Continue, sir.
Yeah, no, just play Davis Bertans at 4,300 because he's a good fantasy player at $4,300, not because he looks at all like my co-host.
Russell Westbrook since the start of March, 1.6 DraftKings points per minute, 31% usage, 50% rebound assist rate, and a 17.2% rebound rate. Now you might say, what about the games that Beal missed? It doesn't matter. On the season, he's got a 31% usage rate, 48% assist rate, 16.5% rebound rate. I mean, there's just, for me, I hear your point on the shooting, but it honestly doesn't matter to me because it's not like Ben Simmons who refuses to shoot. And I know he's a lot more expensive than Ben Simmons, but he's just such a lock every single day. So
I hate that he's so good at fantasy and it makes people think that he's good in real life.
But I don't think he's bad in real life.
Dude, he's averaging 1 point per shot attempt. He's one of the most inefficient basketball players on the planet. So and his only job is to be good at that.
So if he's bad, then he would contribute more towards losing than towards winning.
Yes.
You actually think he does?
Yeah, I mean, he's a terrible defensive player. He has been for ages.
So you think they would have lost more games without him, won more games without Russell Westbrook this season than lost in Washington? I got to hold your feet to the fire here, Josh.
No, that's not what I'm saying either.
Well, it certainly is.
No. When you are the Washington Wizards and you're the guys that you have backing him up are guys like Ish Smith, who are worse than him, then no. He is better than the people that they have behind him. Look, If Russell Westbrook were as good as people think he is based on his fantasy stats, he'd probably still be in Oklahoma City.
Would you take Russell Westbrook or Mike Conley for a playoff run?
It's Mike Conley by, I can't even explain the amount of distance. It's not even remotely close.
Russell Westbrook or Ben Simmons?
Ben Simmons, not even close.
Would you take Russell Westbrook or Trae Young?
Trae Young, not even close.
What?
Is that a serious what?
Trae Young is a dismal defender. Awful. Outright.
Yeah, they both are. Only Trae Young is one of the 10 best offensive players on the planet right now.
So you have no respect for Russell Westbrook's ability to make players around him better than either.
I mean, define make players better around him.
Making it very easy for them to score points.
Yeah, so like he does that. Also, Trae Young with the 93rd percentile assist rate, only he happens to be 1.17 points per shot attempt, 74th percentile, unlike Russ, who's at 1, which is about as low as it goes for anybody that plays that sort of role.
I feel like there is one moment of every show where chat just turns.
Look, it's true.
All right.
This is not even up for debate.
Russell Westbrook or Goran Dragic? Don't do it.
What are we doing? Like for the regular season?
Postseason.
Absolutely Goran Dragic.
All right. Last one, and then we'll close this out. Russell Westbrook or Dennis Schroeder?
On the Lakers?
Yeah, just Dennis Schroeder. No, you're replacing him. No, you'd be replacing Russell Westbrook on the Wizards.
I think that Russell Westbrook would make the Wizards better than Dennis Schroeder would. But if you flip-flop them, I would rather have Dennis Schroeder on the Lakers.
Okay. Now, would you take Westbrook over Killian Hayes?
Right now, yes.
All right. We'll stop there.
Wow. Did you steal that question from Mr. Bubbles?
What do you mean?
He asked
Killian. No. I didn't even see that. Yeah. That's really weird. That's great. Middleton or Westbrook? We all know where Josh is going there.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah. That's not close.
No. All right. Where are we at? OKC?
We're long gone. We're off the reservation.
Yes. Anything else for Washington you want to hit on?
No, not really. Play Russell Westbrook.
Yeah. OKC. Lou Dort coming into this one, questionable. That's about it. Everyone else seems good to go.
Play all of Oklahoma City today, including if he is in this game. Lou Dort, he's the top of the heap today. Lou Dort at 5,700 on Fanduel is my favorite play of the day, and we have him projected for 12% ownership. I have him in the optimal lineup 37% of the time.
So you'd surely take him over Russell Westbrook on a playoff team.
It depends what the rest of my team looks like.
Okay. You'd probably
like I need Lou Dort to be my 5th starter in that scenario, not my lead ball handler.
I need chat to give me one that's like so borderline that you can't make a decision. I'm gonna keep my eye on chat. I need to get one. I thought the Goran Dragic one was pretty good. I knew that would give you at least some pause. But
if it's the playoffs, it's not even remotely close to me.
Okay.
Goran Dragic was the 3rd best player for the Heat last year in a finals run.
No, he wasn't.
If you dare say Tyler Hero, I'm signing off of this stream.
No. Duncan Robinson, man.
Okay. No, he's a terrible player.
Andre Iguodala.
No, I can't do this with you.
As a matter of fact, I'm not even confident that I would have put him ahead of Udonis Haslem.
You get Pat Riley back out there too.
Yeah. Do you like anything else from OKC?
I like everything from OKC. So look, all jokes aside, Lou Dort, when there's no SGA on the floor and no Horford on the floor, has a 29% usage rate this season. Even if you don't believe totally in that, to me, he's a fantasy point per minute guy when those guys aren't on. He's at 1.28 fantasy points per minute over the last 30 days. I've got him at 1, just 1. And that makes him, to me, the unquestioned number one small forward on FanDuel, my favorite play across the board. And I don't understand why they're not getting more ownership. They're gaining 5 possessions over their average by facing Washington. This is the best pace up spot you're going to get. And it's not a good defense either. So Isaiah Roby at 4K on FanDuel at 7.5% ownership. Yes. Pogo Stick. Yes. Darius Baisley on both sites. Darius Baisley is projected for 3% ownership on FanDuel. He's playing like 36 minutes a game for the Thunder in a pace up spot. I want all of the Darius Baisley. Give me some Maladon. Hell, Ty Jerome for 3,700 on the DraftKings works. This is the best spot you get against Washington. The total is fantastic. They might actually be able to keep this one close if Dort is on the floor. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Give me Oklahoma City.
229 total. Yeah. It's funny because we've been seeing a lot of lower totals lately too. You know, we've definitely seen totals trend downward a little bit lately. That makes sense later in the season, especially you get injuries popping up and all that stuff. But yeah, Washington's a 9.5-point road favorite. Does that not say all you need to know about how this OKC team is just giving up? Not that it matters for DFS, but 9 almost double-digit road favorites against the Thunder. It's crazy.
It is totally crazy.
All right. This was a good one from Bubbles. Bledsoe or Westbrook? It's a good one, right?
That one really does come down to who's on the rest of the team. Like if you can use Bledsoe as a defender and he's not the primary creator, I think that could work, but you need very specific stuff around him. They're both bad for different reasons. I would probably go Russ there just for the chaoticness of it all.
All right. And Igor
we've seen Bledsoe fail in the playoffs so much. By the way, that Conley question tilted me. Every single team in the league would take Mike Conley over Russell Westbrook in a playoff series right now.
Well, I think you give them too much credit. Front offices, I mean.
Every single smart team. If you could just get rid of contracts, do you really understand how much Utah would have to attach to Russell Westbrook? Even ignoring contracts to trade Mike Conley for Russell Westbrook, it'd be insanity.
We got to get off of this. Igor in chat is very upset. He says, why you talk so long about Westbrook? It's not the case. Give us real prospects. Why people who make top money in fantasy NBA always take the players, which never Fat Cat and Violet Hat give to us. You're Fat Cat and Violet Hat, by the way.
I don't have a clue what any of the words were in that sentence.
Igor's upset. We must move on. What do you think about Denver and Golden State? The Denver Nuggets are 2.5-point favorites. Who needs a transition when you got Igor popping off? 2.5 point
Speaking of transitions,
228-point total. Do you like Denver here, starting with Jokic?
Yeah. So the problem for Jokic today is, well, it depends on the site, actually. He's 11-3 on FanDuel. Now, I love Jokic. I think he looks like a fantastic option. Huge pace up spot against Golden State, and he does literally everything. Oh, hold on a second. Just got my zinc reminder. I had to take that pill. Anyway.
Oh, I got some theanine yesterday on the Amazon. So thank you.
My man.
Can't wait to feel calm and great.
The Fat Cat and the Violet Hat. We might need to get some sort of graphic made for that too, by the way.
We need a shirt in the merch store that has Fat Cat and Violet Hat. Still perfect. Someone mentioned it's a Dr. Seuss. Rishi says, Igor, Dr. Seuss type beat. He's so right. That was very much a incoherent yet similar Dr. Seuss type spot right there.
If anybody out there can draw me, like my face as an overweight cat, we need to get that done sooner rather than later.
Oh, I'd love it. I'd love it. Just put some whiskers on you with the violet hat.
I love it. If you can cartoonify me into a cat, some Garfield-looking clown eating piles of lasagna, I love it.
We have so many viewers that are like talented, and the photoshops of your mustache that Moses Guthrie did last year was amazing. Please, if anyone has time and is good, artistically inclined, shoot that over to us, and I will make that my damn avatar on Twitter.
Yeah, and we could probably hook you up with some Awesemo something for that too.
Oh, and the cat needs a bottle of zinc in his hand as well.
Yeah, that's probably not a bad idea. Wearing a Chris Middleton jersey.
Yeah.
Okay, back to this.
Look, I love the tropes.
I love Jokic on FanDuel today. He's clearly an unquestionably good pay-up option. The problem is we've got Tristan Thompson as a pay-down option for value. We haven't gotten to Portland yet, but Yusuf Nurkic played almost 30 minutes his last time out. Looks like an incredible value. So center's kind of tight on FanDuel. Still love him, but on DK, We have him projected for 30% ownership, and I think it's fully warranted. He's 10-9. He's the point guard and the center at the exact same time for this team. Huge usage, huge assist rate, huge rebounding rate, north of 1.6 fantasy points per minute. Do not feel bad playing Nikola Jokic against Golden State in a pace-up spot. It's as good as it gets. I really do like Michael Porter on FanDuel. He's picking up some ownership. As I've mentioned before, small forward is terrible. You got to go that way. And I think Will Barton for 5,500 on DraftKings looks great. 34 minutes. Again, the same perfect matchup against Golden State, picking up a little bit of ownership. But those are the guys that I'm looking at most. Jokic on both sites, Porter on FanDuel, Will Barton on DraftKings.
Yo, Igor needs to get the voice to text working properly. He says, what did he say? He don't care about me. PJ Washington always in my mouth. And now 12 teams and 12 PJ there. Decipher that one for me, Josh. I'll give you $1,000 right now.
12 teams and 12 PJ Washington.
No, scroll
there.
up.
12 we. Oh, no. I just kept reading the rest of it. Igor, you're the most fun thing that's happened today.
You have definitely brightened up my morning. I'll tell you that much. Any other thoughts for the Nuggets?
You can get the little bits of like PJ Dozier, Aaron Gordon, Campazzo, because these guys are falling into enough minutes that are relevant. Some of these guys are picking up, like PJ Dozier's at 21% ownership on FanDuel at 3,800. Not sure I totally agree with that number. I think there's enough value out there that you don't need to get so extreme on someone like Dozier. But this is very much just Jokic, Porter, and Barton. I'm
with you on that. Now, Golden State, isn't it so funny how once everyone finally buys into a player paying a premium for them, that's when because this is just what happens in sports, in DFS. Steph Curry is going and shooting, knocking down double-digit threes every single night, and then shoots 2 for 14 against the Washington Wizards. Clockwork, right? Clockwork. But we talk about him again today against Denver, and what I anticipate to be a very fun game. The Nuggets are only favored by less than a field goal, speaking football terms here, and it should be a pretty fast-paced game. Not exactly a pace-up spot for Golden State and Steph Curry, but where do you land on him compared to all of the other top-tier options on this slate?
He's at the bottom of the pay-up options. I
would think
sure.
so, too.
Especially again, 7-game slate. It's a good matchup. He is their offense. When it goes well, it's going to be because of him. I like him as like a 10 to 15%er, and that's where his ownership is. It doesn't seem to be too crazy. I just would rather get to Tatum. I would rather get to Jokic. I would rather get to Russ or Beal. They all just look a little bit better to me. These guys do look a little bit better on DraftKings, though. Kelly Oubre played monster minutes this last time out. He's 5,800. Even if he doesn't start, I think that he can still be an interesting value option. We've got Kent Bazemore at 22% ownership. Looks like people are trying to chase that one. Oddly enough, now I could be wrong here. It's rarely the case that I am wrong, but I could be wrong. I don't think that Kent Bazemore is going to get 8 stocks again today. Just me. I could be wrong. Like I said, I don't know. I don't think he's going to get 8 stocks again. So maybe pump the brakes a little bit on Kent Bazemore because the huge game that he just had is not like a real huge game. It didn't happen for any reason other than, I don't want to say luck, but luck. It happened because of luck. Kent Bazemore is an okay value play at 4,100. Similar story for basically everyone here. I like the guys that play 28 minutes or more. Curry, Wiggins, Green, Looney, Oubre, Bazemore. None of them are priorities. They're just the lineup filler that you get for having this game.
If Kent Bazemore did what he did the other day again, right?
Yeah.
I'll just sign all of my life savings over to Igor because it will not happen again this season.
If he has 8 stocks again, I will dye myself to look like a cat, get the whiskers, and just be the fat cat with the purple hat.
No, you wouldn't do that.
I certainly wouldn't.
Wouldn't or would? If he did that, if he goes for 8 or more stocks tonight, will you do it?
Thanks, bro. Social dotations come only at the end on May. Must call my grandma now. What can I say to she? PJ eats his dinner today. Yes. Me, not sure.
What? All right. This is a faulty voice to text. The phone dropped the other day. You know what I mean? And he's trying to say things that just aren't working.
I feel like he's using voice text on like a Motorola Razr.
My God. I don't know. But if Kent Bazemore has 8 or more stocks today, you will come For Halloween, how about our Halloween show dressed as a fat cat?
Sure.
Okay, that's fair.
Right?
I
might have a hookup. So I previously worked at the North Carolina State Employees Credit Union, and they have a gimmick savings account for children and a like a mascot costume. And the mascot is called the Fat Cat.
Oh, yes.
I could see if I could procure that costume.
You might have it in.
I don't know. I mean, I have a close friend of mine still works there, get together for lunch regularly. I could see if I could get that. He's a higher up. But at the same time, I don't know how the hell I would sit here and do the show because it's huge. It's like a hula hoop sized waist.
It would absolutely make my day, though. I'll tell you that much.
What I should do, and I know I shouldn't say this out loud, but I should basically dress the way like a hot chick would on Halloween as a cat.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yes. No doubt. I will be wildly uncomfortable, but if you show up, I'm not sure I'll be able to do a show. You know how I am. I mean, if I see something like that, it's a wrap.
I swear, if Bazemore gets 8 stocks, oh my God. And that's Bazemore with his 6th steal in the first quarter.
Oh, it'd be great.
Oh, no. And I'll never know it because it's at 10 o'clock at night.
All of you guys need to follow us on Twitter right now, or at least know who we are. So when this happens, we can just light Josh up because this will be the best thing ever. By the way, guys, hit that thumbs up. We got like 530 people watching, only 141 likes. Don't shame us like that. Our families will be very disappointed in our ability to pull those likes and subscriptions. All right. You ready to rock this out or close this out?
Yeah, I am, I guess.
Memphis and Portland, the last one. We haven't done a show like this in a while. I'll tell you that much.
No, we're actually doing pretty well, though. It's only 11:08.
Yeah, no, we're fine. We're fine. Memphis, 3.5-point dogs, 232.5 total. It is the highest total on this slate. There's a couple in the neighborhood, but this is going to be the highest. We'll start with the Grizzlies. We'll go straight to John Morant. Jonas Valanciunas is out, remains sidelined with that concussion. How much does it affect John Morant? And how much should we be looking at this front court for Memphis today as well?
I think the ownership tells the best story here on FanDuel. I'm just going to read
dude, I'm sorry. I absolutely have to cut you off here. Did you see Jaren Jackson had 34 fantasy points in only 18 minutes in his first game back?
I did. Yeah. He averaged, hold on, I had it here. I actually wanted to bring it up. Was that yesterday or two days ago, right?
2 days ago.
So the 21st?
21st against the Clippers.
So he led the entire slate 2.04 FanDuel points per minute.
Yeah. After you said he was, and by the way, he was one of the worst plays on the slate. He played 18 minutes, but it just so happened that that's how things work. Go ahead.
Anyway, so I think the ownership on FanDuel is going to explain how I feel about this game perfectly. And it doesn't even matter whose name is attached to what I'm about to say. 9-5, 9-8, 9-5. Like nobody is picking up any priority. Their minutes are all relatively flat. If you want to get to Morant or Slow-Mo or Tillman or Grayson Allen, Dylan Brooks, like these guys are individually just random filler. I think John Morant for 7,200 on DraftKings is the best DK play. But if you want to go to Tillman or Grayson Allen, I think it's okay. I just don't find Memphis to be all that appealing. Don't freak out if you get one of their starters, but there's no way you're starting any lineup or even starting with like 2 or 3 guys and picking someone from Memphis, unless you're the biggest John Morant guy in the world.
All right. That actually I wasn't necessarily expecting that. I guess how much of that has to do with the salaries just kind of being corrected for themselves, even with Joval out?
I really do think that's the issue. Like having Jaren Jackson back is a problem. Justice Winslow is also back. They're just thinning out. This is the deepest team in the league of guys that are like legitimate NBA players, rotational type guys. They just have too many of the exact same thing. And that's a problem in DFS. If I told you that DeAnthony Melton played 26 minutes tonight and went for 50 fantasy points, you wouldn't be super surprised. He does that stuff, but he could just as easily play 16 because they gave Desmond Bane 28 and he put up 8 fantasy points.
Exactly. Now we're going to close it out with Portland. Stick with us till the end because right now one player on Portland has the highest projected ownership on DraftKings. That's called a tease. First, No House Advantage, the wonderful sponsor of the NBA Strategy Show. It's so funny that we've had people tweeting us recently, being like, dude, I just wish I could play in Maryland or in this state, because you can't play in every state yet, because the whole build the bankroll thing is working so well for them. And that is the biggest thing here for all of the smaller site sponsors that we have. No House Advantage is one of the best ones out there. It's a peer-to-peer player prop tournament style contest where guaranteed player prop contest, where, first of all, if you use the promo code Awesemo, you get $20 when you sign up and deposit. All you have to do is download the app. All of the tools at Awesemo are free. The player prop tool created by Alex Baker, the optimal lineups tool, and it's just a good way to build your bankroll. Josh, I said it once, I said it a million times. These smaller sites looking to get a foothold in the industry want you to win money playing on their sites. They want to give you money to start, and they want you to win money so you stay on the site. It's just the way it works, even if you want to take some of that after you build it up and try and chase down the 100K on DraftKings or FanDuel.
It's the perfect place to be. I don't really have anything else to add. Get the free money, help yourself out tremendously, and use some of that free money down the line to get that UFC 261 promo, because I do want to fly in with all 6 fighters in the 3 title fights made weight for Saturday's card. So those 3 title fights, barring any true major disasters in the next 24 hours, all 3 title fights are on.
There's 3 title fights tomorrow?
Yes.
Ooh. How big are the MMA contests?
Haven't looked.
Okay. They got to be pretty big. Portland,
I would imagine.
What's that?
I would imagine they look pretty good, at least for DraftKings in particular. I hate the scoring system on FanDuel. Sorry, FanDuel, but that's the case. 750,000 guaranteed, 200K up top on DK. So
huge.
They got a big one.
Looking forward to that one. I'm going to be getting in that. I haven't played MMA in a little while, but I got to jump into this one. Portland, I said that we had one player, highest projected ownership on the site. Yusuf Nurkic on DraftKings, Josh, is 50. What happened?
Look at YouTube. Oh, he took it off the screen.
Oh, did he put it up there? Good.
Wait, did you see it?
Yeah, Mr. Bubbles DM'd it to me, and I sent it over to Jordan.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know that Mr. Bubbles sent it to you.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I thought Jordan put that together.
He made quick work of that with the bottle of zinc held by what looks like a tail. Gotta love it. Appreciate you, Bubbles. That's good stuff. Made real quick work of that. And that's why I love doing this damn show. I wasn't sure if I said something weird about Yusuf Nurkic, but he's $5,200.
Yeah.
$5,200. At first I saw that ownership and I thought, why is Nurkic getting that much ownership for a guy like him that is an easy +1, like way above +1 fantasy point per minute?
Yeah.
Going up against Memphis without Joval, it's really tough for me not to like Nurkic at 5,200 today.
Yeah, I've got him out as a baseline 1.2 guy. I'm not making any changes for Valanciunas being out. I just also agree that is a great spot. So 5,800 on FanDuel, 5,200 on DraftKings. He's my number 1 play today. I got him in 37% of optimals. I think he's under-owned on DraftKings still. And here's why. Yusuf Nurkic played 29 minutes in their last game 2 nights ago, which means Yusuf Nurkic can play 29 minutes. That's the big piece of news here. He is able to play 29 minutes, so they want him to do that. And that's what I tried to explain on the process show. Everything that Portland wants to do is completely contingent on Yusuf Nurkic being able to play starter level minutes as their center. He is the only guy that can bring this defense to be a functional defense. They can get to a league average defense because of that, and they certainly have the offensive firepower elsewhere. So if we know that he can play 29 minutes, I am going to go with the assumption that is what he's going to be playing moving forward until I see otherwise. So I gave him 29. I actually think that it could be slightly more. Doesn't have to be. He is the best play on Portland by far, and he's a huge man. This is not some sort of like fake center 4.5 stretch type dude. He is a beast of a human being, and Joval is also a beast of a human being. Him not being there is important.
Yes, it is.
Tillman and Brandon Clark and Jaren Jackson, those guys don't have it in terms of the strength to handle Nurkic if he's playing big minutes. It's a great spot.
It's a phenomenal spot. And like you said, how much can you really factor that in? But looking at it, having Joval, another 7-footer off the floor, it is significant. There's no doubt about it, especially on the boards. Now, Portland is getting ownership on FanDuel outside of just Nurkic. But on DraftKings, there's nothing going to any of them. Lillard's 87 on FanDuel. He's actually come down 100. McCollum 7,800. Norman Powell 62. Even Covington is coming in like 5,400. He's not getting a lot of ownership there, but big discrepancy from DraftKings to FanDuel.
Yeah, so I'm going to touch on FanDuel first because of that. I agree with the ownership on FanDuel. Dame Lillard is 8,700. I'm going to continue to play him until he's back priced where he normally will be. He is not an $8,700 price guy in the long term. Ja Morant, not great defensively. I think this is a good get right spot for Dame. And at 17% ownership, I think it should be like 25. So I'm going to be heavy on Dame again. I don't mind getting the CJ. I think he's properly owned. I don't mind getting the $6,200 Norm Powell at 10% ownership. I mean, this game is a north of 230 total. Is it the highest total on the slate?
Yes, it is. 232.5 is the highest on the slate.
Certainly not going to have any trouble getting to the 3 offense first guards for Portland on FanDuel, even if they're getting ownership. But I still like them on DK. And I honestly like them. I think I like them more on DraftKings, even as the pay up to be contrarian type spot. Like Dame at 8% ownership, CJ at 4, Norm Powell at 2. And I'm not advocating for a lot here because these prices are worse, but I would be more than okay with going to, let's say, 15% of Dame where he's 8% owned, 10% of CJ where he's 4% owned, 10% of Norm Powell where he's 2% owned, because this is the biggest total on the spot on the slate. Memphis isn't all that great defensively, especially in this current iteration. I'll bet on the points. This to me feels like a fantastic late night hammer.
I think so too. And yeah, it seems like there's a lot of Nurkic hate because of the ownership. And I get that with the high ownership, but just keep in mind, and I'm not trying to sell you on Nurkic. There's really no need to do that.
No.
Nurkic is the type of guy that if he plays 29 minutes can give you 50. And he can do that relatively easily. I know recently he hasn't done it, but I've watched him do that many, many times recently. If Nurkic plays 29 minutes or close to that, like he did last game, 5,200, I'm pretty certain you'll be happy with it. Although, to be fair, he has not played as well lately. I'm not too concerned about that, especially with no Joval on the other side.
Look, even if we're wrong and Yusuf Nurkic plays 24 minutes, like at his normal rates, that's 29 fantasy points. If he's just playing well, but happens to just still not play a ton of minutes because of a health reason, like this guy can go for 35, 40 fantasy points. That will still work today at that price tag.
Yep, absolutely. All right, guys, remember, you don't need to, I saw Arcatelza put this in chat that he said, I don't know shit about MMA, might need to try. You don't really need to know anything about MMA. I mean that. Adam doesn't.
MMA is a math problem more so than most of these spots.
Right. I would venture to say that Steve Buzzard, the Colts, who is, always winning and just won like 75,000 in MMA last week using our tools. I would venture to say, Josh, that he probably doesn't know a ton about MMA either, but he knows how to build lineups and he knows how to use the tools that we have. The Top Fighter tool, which is huge, which it's all probabilities, right? I mean, it's ownership projections, the Top Fighter tool, all that stuff can, and of course, Fantasy Cruncher, if you're MMA, it's all you need. So UFC 261 is the promo. It's good through tomorrow, right? It's over tomorrow.
Yes. Over tomorrow.
It's half off the entire month. So that gets you, I think it's like 5 different weekends of fights, which is awesome. 2 of them pay-per-view.
So great. It's so
Check it out. Check it out. And if you want all of the sports, you can just go to awesemo.com/join. The merch store is also open. It's at awesemo.com or go to store.awesemo.com if you missed a huge giveaway we did on yesterday's Deeper Dive. You got the Awesemo hats, the hoodies, and everything else. Maybe soon we'll have a fat cat and violet hat little t-shirt going on, and I will rock that all day long. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Process show every single day, 6:30 a.m. Eastern time, Monday through, well, not every day, Monday through Friday. Check that out. Josh guides you through his process. Coming up later today, actually very shortly, 12 o'clock Eastern time, it is UFC 261, Monkey Knife Fight Picks and Strategy Show with Jason Floyd and Pete Rogers, the 2 best in the business. NHL Strategy Show coming up after that. The Daily Game Plan to tip off, Live Before Lock, NBA Live Before Lock, Deeper Dive. Stick around. We'll see you back here soon. Thanks for watching, guys.
Have a good weekend.
Peace.